And I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Cooped Up Live, should I say. Just a random broadcast, whatever you want to call it, where I talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. While we are waiting on folks to join, coopedup.com is my website. Would love a visit. I'm Cooped Up is my handle on all the social places. Would love a follow, particularly if you're on Instagrams. And wherever you watch or listen to this, it is on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, as well as rebroadcast in audio format on the major podcasting platforms. Click the bell, subscribe button, whatever they call it, so that you do not miss a second of the fun. Hey, Mama, how you doing today? Hope you had a good weekend. I had a good weekend. Monica was here. My sister Monica was up here with her husband and Mike and her son Sterling. We just saw them last weekend down in San Antonio, and then again, this weekend they were here for the RV show, which I will talk about momentarily. Sam is saying, I want your hair. Thank you. It's not for sale. Gee, thanks. Just bought it. No, I've always been blessed with good hair. It's just one of those big teeth and big hair. That's me. Anyway, thank you though. Thank you. If I'm a little off, I apologize. I am full on experiencing a vaccine hangover. On Saturday, I had both the COVID shot, the updated COVID shot, and the new flu shot. I got flu in this arm and I got COVID in this arm. And by the way, I've seen that there's already shortages of the COVID shot. People are rushing to get it. I heard it was coming, and I went to CVS, Walgreens, and Tom Thumb and signed up at all three. Until I got an appointment and then I just kept moving it until it was earlier, and then finally got one for Saturday and canceled it, the other ones. But let me tell you, it is just, I'm nauseous as I'll get out. I am tired, and I have been sleeping, and it's all good. Usually it just started yesterday afternoon. So I got the shot on Saturday morning at 9:30, and I woke up yesterday morning thinking, oh, wow, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Like, I'm okay. This is going to be fine. At lunch, we went to lunch at Taco Deli, and it was like I was getting the flu. You know how you start like a meeting or a lunch or something and you feel just totally fine. And then over the course of it, it just feels like you're melting and someone cut your strings and you just lose all your energy. That's how it felt yesterday. So by the end of the lunch, I was like, oh, we need to go. I need to go home. So I slept some yesterday. I slept some this morning. I did have still work obligations I had to deal with today. My knees are on fire. The COVID shot always makes my joints, my major joints, my hips, my knees, and my ankles, especially on my legs, hurt. Some people say their shoulders do. I'm not feeling it in my shoulders as much, but my knees, and it's not like a direct pain. It's more just like a soreness. And granted, we were at the RV show this weekend too, walking around for 3 hours, walking in and out of RVs and looking at stuff. But I will tell you this. So when I went to the doctor, he was like, I recommend you get it one in each arm instead of both in the same arm. I'm very grateful for that. I would normally get them both in the same arm. And I get the right arm because that's my more active arm and it works it out. And I also got my little Theragun pulsing thing and helped work it into the muscle some. But I will tell you, the flu shot burned I highly encourage everyone to get vaccinated. I am so super susceptible to respiratory illness that if I do not get the flu shot, I get the flu every single year. Every single year of my life that I have not had the flu shot, I think I've had the flu. And then some years when I've even had the flu shot, I've had the flu. And that's why COVID freaked me out so much, because I've had pneumonia 3 times. I have scar tissue in my lungs, and I've had COVID now twice, despite being fully vaccinated, like day one of vaccinations every time. But if y'all don't remember, I was like the vaccine angel, trying to get everybody hooked up with vaccines during the pandemic. But the flu shot went in, and it felt like hot lava going into my arm. That's how you know, oh shit, what am I in for? Going in, I could tell exactly where it was in my muscle and under my skin. Hot lava. The COVID shot did not hurt very much. It just went in, it typical little like stretching out the muscles or whatever. But I could tell you now, my lymph node on this side, they're both tender, but this one right here, it hurts like I had a boob job or something. I mean, it is, or like maybe I worked out. I don't do that, so I don't know what that feels like. But yeah, it's so tender right there, just like right in my armpit. So, Sam was saying hi. Hey, Sam Priest. And Samuel is going to be getting his shots this week. I was dead this week. 6 days in Orlando was rough. Yeah, I was just like, between going out of town and the RV show I'm like, don't catch COVID before you get the COVID shot. Don't catch COVID before you get the COVID shot. Because I know so many people. Carrie, she was out with it last week. And Samuel's also, I remember peak pandemic, you were the COVID shot queen. Yes, I wear the crown proudly for that. So I'm kind of at this point faking it until I make it. I'm sure I seem more energetic here than I really am. I'm just like forcing myself into it. I'm going to hit end on this and then just collapse. But Mondays are my long night. Claire has roller derby practice tonight in Grand Prairie from 6 to 8. And tonight is a scrimmage. So it's a particularly important one that we go to. So I can't even miss it for that. Anyway, I'm not sure if you saw in the caption for today's episode, but I earned my Parent of the Year award this weekend. And I say that super sarcastically. So picture it, RV, our old RV, not even our current one, our old RV, we sell it. And after this one trip, we can't find Mason's Nintendo Switch anywhere. And then for those of you who don't know, a Nintendo Switch basically looks kind of like an iPhone, but it's got like two handles on either side of it and they can detach. You can plug it into your TV, all of that. We had all of the accessories to it, everything, but we cannot find the damn device. And you got it for Christmas that year, maybe the year before. Could not find it anywhere. And the boys notorious for losing things. I'm not going to lie. It is not without reason that we would have been like, where'd you lose it? Blah, blah, blah. So we suspected that he had left it on the RV that we sold, and no one claimed, like they just kept it. Like they didn't say anything about it, whatever, right? Thought gone forever, whatever. We were going to make him save his money up to buy a new one for himself and all that kind of stuff. Fast forward, again, about 2-3 years. I think it's been about 2 years since that happened. I was looking for the Theragun, that thing that massages the muscle and all of that. And I'm looking all over this office that I'm in right now. And I'm looking on shelves and such. And I'm jumping up and down to see the upper shelf on this shelf right here. You can't see it. There's 2 more shelves above it that go to the ceiling. And something catches my eye. And I'm like, what is that? So I have to pull a chair over, climb up there. And sure enough, his daddy, Cooper, had hidden. Oh, I took it away. I'm sure it was because I took it away. Because we had a while also where there was a severe addiction to screens. I think we still have that. But at least now it's not as desperate. Previously it was, he would wake up in the middle of the night and come into like my office, Todd's office, open drawers and start looking for old iPhones, old computer screens, old iPads, that sort of stuff, and play with them. But the boy wasn't smart enough to then hide them. We would then find him in his room, like laying next to his bed because he'd fallen asleep with them. But we had even had a camera in the hallway outside of his room to see if when he came out of his room for that sort of stuff. Broke him of that habit, but I don't know what he did, but I had hidden the Nintendo Switch up behind some boxes up there, and it had been there, and I had just forgotten. I'm owning this. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying there was a reason I took it away from him. I should not have forgotten it, right? And I apologize. I feel terrible about it, all of that. But I'm notorious for hiding things and then not finding them. There are so many times I have like opened a drawer and I'm like, oh, there's an envelope full of money in here. Or I will buy Christmas presents for people during the year and put them somewhere. And then I don't even remember that I had bought the presents for people. I will be looking for something else come February. And I'm like, oh shit, that was supposed to be a gift for so and so this past Christmas. That would have been the perfect gift. And I never keep it. I always end up just giving it directly to the person right away because the cycle would just continue and it'd be an endless thing. And that's my ADHD kicking in. It's object permanence. If I cannot see it, it does not exist. It might as well have never happened, that sort of thing. Also, I am very, very good at having systems in place. Like my keys are always in my pocket or always in the kitchen drawer. There's no other place that the keys exist in my house. Same with my phone. My phone is either on my body, in my hand, or on the charger. It does not exist anywhere else. And that's how I don't lose it. Sunglasses. Sunglasses are on my person, on the kitchen counter, or in the little sunglasses thing in my car. And that's just how I make sure that I don't have to trust myself to remember where I put things. But obviously, it doesn't always work. So I felt terrible about it. We did get a fun weekend of playing Super Mario Kart, though. Anyway, but it was funny enough because even earlier that day, we were at the RV show, and I was joking with my sister Monica, with Mason there, about how we think he had left the Nintendo Switch in our old RV Bernadette when we sold it. And then come to find out, it was literally, I mean, that's like maybe 6 feet from me at all times. That just, how embarrassing for me, right? Have y'all done anything like that before, those you parents, that you would be willing to admit to? And Todd's out of town this week. He leaves tomorrow morning. So he will do drop off of Claire in the morning. I'll do drop off of Mason. And then this will be the first, he's gone all week. He's gone until Sunday. And this will be the first week where I am in charge of both the entire week. I don't know how I'm going to do it because they have the same school schedule. School starts at 8 o'clock and ends at 3:30 for both of them. Fortunately for Mason, 2 days of the week, he ends at 1:40 because that's when athletics starts, but he does his athletics at 6 a.m. in the morning. For cross country, he doesn't have to do them in the afternoon. So he gets out on the A scheduled day. They call it Green Day. He had one today. So Eric is saying it's okay for kids to see an adult admit making a mistake at least once in a while. Although I hate having to do it at school. I know. Well, and especially since we just did not let up on it. That is the part that I'm just like, oh my God. It would be different if we were like, oh, you lost it. Oh, well. And never mentioned it again. But it is a recurring thread through our family conversations. So anyway, the one saving grace of Todd being out this week or this being the week that Todd is out, is that Mason actually does not have school on Wednesday. It's parent-teacher conference day. And because Todd's not here, we're not doing them. And they're optional in high school. So we're just taking the day off. So I don't have to worry. I only have to worry about getting him to cross country practice again at 6 a.m. on a day that he doesn't have school. But that's fine. It's over by 7, can go back to bed, all that kind of stuff. Something interesting that I am going to talk about one political topic today. Again, as I said before, y'all know my politics generally. I don't talk about them. I don't want to add to the vitriol that happens out there and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I'm like, this needs to be talked about. I was at and I have alerts turned off on my phone. I try not to follow play-by-play on things. If it's important to know about, I'll read about it in the Wall Street Journal tomorrow morning, or I will see it on like the evening news, which I actually never watch anyway. I'll read the Dallas Morning News or whatever. But for the Paxton impeachment thing, I was following that because I knew it had already started. So I was following that as they were going through that. And I just, based on everything that I had seen and heard, even from conservative friends of mine, that they were all like, this is bad. This is bad stuff. Bad stuff. And, I know that my brother-in-law, Mike, is a Republican. And I'm pretty sure he voted for Trump and all of this, right? We're all related to those people. God bless them. Um, but he was here with us even, and for him to have been acquitted on every single one of those things by was it a margin of 2 votes? I think out of 40, something like that. Maybe out of 30. I can't remember what the number is. But I just like, even Republicans I know are mad about this. I've seen numerous people that I know. Granted, I will say the Republicans I know are generally not part of that MAGA wing of the Republican Party. They're probably more closely aligned with me, and where I'm not a Republican, but I'm a pretty conservative Democrat. Let's just put it that way. And I think on a spectrum, a lot of these establishment Republicans are probably way closer to me than some of the more liberal parts of my party, and definitely the MAGA people. Eric is saying Dan Patrick and too many Texas Senate Republicans were bought off. I heard the first vote and I knew it was all over. I know, that's once you saw the first one, it was just a replay like 30 times after that. Here's the thing, though, also that was just so Mike said it really well. He said they don't want to vote to convict him because then they know that they're guilty of a lot of the same things. And I thought that was very telling. I thought that was very smart and probably very true as well. But then also just the vow of revenge and all that stuff that is coming next. I don't get all of that. But here's the part that is super cringe to me. That Angela Paxton, his wife, had to sit there and listen to all of the details of his affair and how he paid favors to this woman and got her jobs and all of that sort of thing. Like that part, I'm just like, and I always say every relationship has its own rules. And if they say Bill and Hillary have an arrangement, and if they have an arrangement, that's their arrangement, and I'm fine with it. Maybe Angela and Ken Paxton have an arrangement as well, or maybe they've come to terms with it, or maybe they've just realized that this is not worth blowing up our relationship over, that sort of thing, right? So like I've always, I would, if Todd had an affair, first of all, I'd be like, where do you get the fucking energy? But secondly, it would not destroy us. Like it's not going to end the world for us. It'd be something to work through. It'd be a trying time. It's certainly not something I want to explore or have that. And I couldn't have an affair. I'm too fucking lazy. I barely like having sex with him. I certainly don't want to do it with a bunch of other people. And that's on me. That's not because it's bad with him, as I say in front of my mother. But so maybe they have an arrangement, but I just listening to all the things that they said in her presence about the other woman, like that I don't have much sympathy for her, just generally speaking, but in that moment, I'm like, oh my God, this feels so uncomfortable for me. I'm so uncomfortable right now for her. And then this Lauren Boebert thing is the gift that keeps on giving, where she got kicked out of a production. If you don't know Lauren Boebert, she's one of those Republicans in Congress who is aligned with like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, just the really loud, like trying to steal the spotlight kind of people, all that kind of stuff. Very extreme views. Also the ones pushing that all gays are pedophiles, all drag queens are trying to groom kids, all that kind of, they're pushing all of this, right? So she is I think she's in Denver at this touring production of Beetlejuice the Musical, which right there already tells me your taste level. And she gets kicked out for vaping and for singing along too loudly, right? Like that's the one of the big things. I think the vaping thing is actually what triggered it. And then she pulls the "Don't you know who I am" thing. Well, then someone there pulls security footage and figures out who she's with. She's with a man who owns, because she's recently divorced. Great family values. Actually, I don't think that being divorced is against family values. I just think that you should not be shouting about it if that's your situation. But so someone released the security video footage from the auditorium that they're in. And this guy, who, by the way, owns a bar that's very LGBTQ friendly and even has drag shows sometimes, is full on feeling her up, groping her boobs and everything in this thing while she's vaping and singing along to Beetlejuice. And one of my musical theater friends actually said it best, is that with everything that's disgusting about this, the thing that I find most troublesome is that she knew all the words to the songs to Beetlejuice the musical, like the cast recording. Blake is saying, "Don't hate on Beetlejuice. It's a fantastic show." It probably is. I'm being a snob. I know. But just, yeah. People say that like SpongeBob SquarePants was a great show. It's just not something that I want to go see in that sort of setting. I don't know. Maybe I'm a purist. Maybe I just want to see some Rodgers and Hammerstein. And although I love Jersey Boys, and I wouldn't put Jersey Boys in the same category as that, but it is a jukebox musical, and I typically don't like jukebox musicals. Like, I thought that the Billy Joel, what was it called? Billy Joel's one, Going Out, Turning Up, something like that. I can't remember what it was. I thought it was terrible because they were forcing the music into that. I'd like to see the Tina Turner one. I've heard it's very good. And I'm not a musical fan. I would say I'm an okay musical fan, but I don't like strive for it. I don't know the words to all of all that sort of thing. So Eric is back to the other topic. Mrs. Senator Paxton made the choice to be there. She's in on the whole thing. I have no sympathy. I agree on that. And actually, I think that she forced herself into being there because she couldn't vote. She could have also just not been in the chambers for the deliberations and all of that stuff. I think that was to put pressure on people to know that she has eyes on them, and maybe also to temper the testimony, because had she not been there, maybe they would have even gone more over the top. So, yeah. And the last thing I have, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode than normal. I was looking, no, actually I have two things. Never mind. Not the last thing. The second to last thing is I was uploading the audio to the last episode I did, I guess last week or whatever. And I can see like where listeners are listening to it, how many listens it got on which platforms and all that stuff. And I'll be honest with you, the audio version, the podcast version, doesn't get a ton of listens, maybe a dozen, 20, something like that, right? Each, which I still actually think is pretty remarkable. It means people are listening to me, and most of y'all are probably friends or relatives or my mother. But like in the car or while you're cooking or while you're walking, I've had people tell me this. Like, I listen to you on a repeat while I'm driving to work or home from work, or while I'm walking. I've had my friend Daniele, his wife, he's like, "Why do I hear Cooper's voice?" And she was like, "Oh, I'm listening to him on the podcast while they were out walking," that sort of thing. And my friend Beth was watching in the doctor's office waiting room, and someone was like, "Is that Cooper you're watching?" Like, it's just really weird, the intersection of these things. But I noticed that the last like 4 episodes that I have posted, because I don't do every one of them. If it's a particularly visual episode, I don't put it on audio only, because that's just mean. But they've gotten, and again, average is like 15 to 20. The last few, and the most recent last one, not this last one, but when I was uploading it, had like 80 listens on Spotify alone. And all of the ones that like immediately before it were suddenly like the line went like this, and then it just went straight up, right? From like, again, 15 to 20 to like 60 to 80 listens. And a listen is not just accidentally listen to it. You have to have listened to at least 60 seconds of it. And I don't know if they have individual people or whatever. I haven't really delved into it that much, but I do know it has to be at least a 60-second listen to count. And then I looked at where my listeners were coming from. 80% are in the United States. But all of a sudden, out of the blue, 20% of people who listened to the audio version of this were coming from Germany. Germany, 20% of the listens from Germany. And then I realized I was like looking at my Instagram and I'm like, I have a lot of new followers from Germany on Instagram. Like in the last 3 weeks or so, just a ton of people following my Instagram from Germany. So am I a celebrity in Germany and I don't realize it? That's ridiculous. But guten Abend, guten Tag, guten Morgen, if you are listening to me from Deutschland. I do speak German, sort of. And then similar topic, I was playing with the Google Translate app. I needed to translate something the other day. And so I downloaded the Google Translate app on my phone. I was fucking with Mason about something. I was trying to tell him something, but I wanted to tell him in Spanish to see if his Spanish language lessons were doing any good, all that kind of stuff. And so I ended up downloading the actual app. And of course it has where you type in, do you want to have pizza for dinner after we pick up Claire from practice? Like that sort of thing. And then it translated it into Spanish, that sort of thing, right? But here's where it goes off the rails to me. And it's like next level. So the next level is, and we're going to go up 2 levels. The next level is you can actually talk into it and then it translates and it says it in another language. It doesn't say it in your voice. That would be weird. But it says it in like a computerized voice. But you can say what you want to say. Like I could talk into it and then hit play. And then it plays that in the language of your choice. And it can do Spanish, French, Arabic. There's like gazillions of languages, right? I've already downloaded Spanish and I downloaded Arabic since we're going to Egypt in January. They speak Arabic in Egypt, right? Egyptian's not a language. I should probably figure that out before we go. But anyway, but here's where it is next level to me. They have a thing where it will read the language for you, and on the screen it translates it. So like if there's a sign or a piece of paper, like you need to like say, I just happen to have my passport on. So if I had my passport and I needed to see what it says on it, I can literally just with the camera hold it open and scan. Just doesn't even scan. It's just looking at it like you're taking a video sort of, and it transposes the translation on top of the words. So it's so like it would have whatever pasaporte here, that sort of thing, in the right spots. That's a terrible example for that. But I was just like, oh my God, like that is so crazy. Like, the biblical story about the Tower of Babel. Like, at what point are we going to get to that point? Because there's now earphones. Google makes some earphones where you can put them in and they, in real time, translate the sounds, the words that you're hearing around you. So, like, if you're getting your nails done and you want to know what they're talking about, you can put those in and you can hear what those little ladies are saying as they're talking while doing your thing. Earbuds, yes. Sorry, earbuds. That's what I meant to say. Like that is like crazy to me. At what point are we going to have it? If you don't know the story of the Tower of Babel, it's a biblical story. I'll take you to church for a second here. But basically it is where and I'm terribly paraphrasing here, where all of these people were building this giant tower in hopes of reaching heaven or seeing God or something like that. Something to get closer to God. And they were just doing it and becoming more and more successful. And so God then made them all speak different languages. And that's how all the languages supposedly came to be, according to this biblical story. And then and it was all because they were building this Tower of Babel. Mom, correct me if I'm wrong on this. But I believe that that's the general take on that story. And so at what point are we going to get to where we all can hear and read the same language again? And is that going to cause complications if you believe in God or whatever, or that sort of thing? Like that's just like a really interesting thing to me too. So, all righty. Well, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Last like 20 seconds to comment. Congratulations on thank you, Mom. You're my favorite fan. Eric has been under the weather, so send healing thoughts to Eric, please. Carrie has been as well. She finally came out of quarantine, I believe, on Saturday after like 7 or 10 days in quarantine. Those rules are changing constantly. She was like, how long do I have to stand? And I look it up and I'm like, well, do you want the rule on Monday or do you want the rule on Tuesday? Because I think it's changed since Wednesday. Anyway, all righty. Well, with that, I'm going to say bye. I love you. Eric is saying I am less near death than I was earlier today. And that is progress, if you ask me. So, and Mom hopes she start feeling better soon. And me too. All of us start feeling better soon. Like I said, I'll probably pass out as soon as I sign off. So with that, I'm going to say bye. I love you. It's important to know you are loved. I love that you watched this. Thank you so much. I miss you when I'm away. Take care of yourself. Don't should yourself to death. No good comes from should. And with that, I'm going to say bye. I'll see you next time on Cooped Up Live, should I say. Talk to you later. Bye.